All right.
Oh, there.
I know. Don't. Hopefully, you do it right.
Can't be any worse than Josh Bauman. I'm well. How are you all?
We're social distancing. Pate's in a van down by the river.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, I guess
Sad.
that works out timing wise with social distancing, right? Well, your real estate agent's your sister-in-law, so you really don't have to listen to her. Yeah. Pate's giving us a beautiful view of the river. Is that
the
it?
barge? The barge
As
is
I say,
backing up.
barge?
Getting ready to go.
Hey, where are you? What part of Missouri are you?
I live in New Madrid.
Oh, damn it. Who's calling me?
No. Please silence all devices. Well, that made the podcast better.
They're standalone. You know. Yeah, I don't have a Ubiquiti controller. Well, I blocked all outbound except for 4.380.
He needs to mute his mic.
and a couple-
It's really poor
I don't know.
etiquette.
I mean, he has a big mouth.
He sure does.
Blocked outbound, I bet you.
Let's just listen to his conversation.
Tomorrow, I can't change it from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't tell my wife.
Khakis.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, if you want me to come over tomorrow, holler at me in the morning,
I
and
wonder if we can mute him.
I'll meet you there.
Oh.
This is the worst.
The barge is going up the river
You
now.
should grab an IP address, right?
God. Right. Hmm. And that was in a big window, wasn't it? Like 6 hours? 7 hours. Wow.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, we heard you the whole time.
Shut up. I
Yeah.
muted my mic toward
no,
the end.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, it's the vendor, whatever. Let's try and do work in a football stadium at 5 o'clock in the evening. That's a great idea. They haven't done it for 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, they're no, they haven't replaced the turf in 10 years. What?
Josh, when they had your fiber held up by they talking about the remodel job.
Yeah, the remodel for the seats of the stadium was last year, but they didn't touch the turf. Greg Jackson says we can't hear you on the stream. You particularly. Just Greg. Yeah.
I guess the show needs to go on, so
Yeah, show needs to go on. We'll upload later.
the rest of us need to talk more.
Hold up signs, Greg. Sign language like those people at the governor's.
Yeah.
You know what? There might be closed captioning on here. Hang on a second. I know on Google Paid, is there closed captioning on Zoom?
I don't know. I've not really messed with it except that time we were doing the drinking party.
I know. I know.
Need to hear more about that story.
I know on Google Meet there's auto closed captioning, which is pretty darn cool for a. I don't see it. I wonder. I don't know. That's weird. Greg, do you have a boom mic? Yeah, because I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right, so
Josh, you got to get new turf on the football field for the new expensive football coach to walk on and air better.
You know what, Pate? You know what? I really try hard not to talk about work on this show.
But they talked about the football field. All I did was bring up the new coach.
No, the football field looks beautiful. The new turf looks really, really nice. But yeah, contrary to what Greg believes, they haven't touched the turf on the field in 10 years. Yeah. Pate's given us a beautiful view. So yeah, we're social distancing now. I held a virtual happy hour that Pate joined and a couple other people joined. That's kind of one of the common things people are doing it now through Facebook. Can you do? Yeah, you can do multiple people in a Facebook video chat, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know people are doing it.
Snapchat.
Yeah, I know you're on Snapchat. You're all the ladies on Snapchat. I know you can do it with Apple FaceTime too. You can do multiple video chats. So
yeah, like you get 32 on FaceTime.
Holy cow! Give me the bratwurst, and I'll throw them on the grill.
Yeah, I think with the last update, I thought you got like 32 on FaceTime.
Really? So
I don't know how many you get on Snapchat.
What plans did we interrupt this evening for you?
Oh, I was out soaking up the sun on the back roads, watching the ducks swim in the backwater.
Is it flooded down there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the water should not be as high as it is.
Yeah, we went for a walk in the park and we were noticing how up the creek was.
And they're predicting that this spring is going to be like last spring, and we're going to hold the river high for a while.
Really?
That's what the Corps said.
It's high up this way at the Merrimack already, and we got more rain coming.
And it all comes to me eventually.
Yep.
So, social distancing and this coronavirus, COVID-19, how has it affected you two? Josh, how's it affected your company and how you're doing day-to-day stuff and family? Are you seeing a direct impact from it? I mean, I know your kids are home, but
my kids are home. My wife is home. I'm home. For me,
ready
it's
to kill each other.
No, we're fine. we're fine for the most part. I'm ready to kill the dog. She's driving me crazy. She doesn't know what to do whenever we're all here.
I'm sure she's happy as hell.
She, every time somebody stands up, she thinks it's time to go outside. So we're glad that it's warm out now because we can throw her out on a leash or whatever. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I like being at home, and I like having the kids at home. It's kind of nice because they're all teenagers, so they're like forced to stay at home. So we've been able to interact with them more. Played a long game of Monopoly last night. That was cool. It's like old times. It's simpler. It's like a simpler time.
Has that been an issue for them, that ability to stay home?
Oh yeah, they hate it. They don't want to be home at all. But we're kind of forcing the issue.
You're being a good parent and holding that line and not letting them go anywhere, right?
Well, after our conversation last week, you guys kind of gave me the business about, you know, I was kind of trying to get out into the world and do some things, and you were telling me that I needed to stay home. So I've abided by that.
I mean, you pickup's not an issue. It's the going and sitting in a restaurant, you know, licking doorknobs, that kind of stuff that's the issue.
Yeah, did you see that idiot? Did you see that idiot that takes his tongue down the?
Yeah. He got arrested today.
Did he really?
Yeah, he got charged. Yeah.
What did they charge him with?
I don't remember exactly. There was a story I saw earlier on Facebook that they ended up arresting him and charging him.
God.
They charged the guy going through Walmart saying he had the corona with hoaxing or whatever this week too. The big no-neck guy.
I haven't seen that one.
All right. I don't know if... Am I echoing to you guys?
No.
Okay. Maybe it's just to me. Could you find out from Jackson?
Yeah,
Josh?
I'm having him go and look.
Look at that beautiful green egg.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here. We went for a walk earlier. I've been up to work.
The egg, not you.
What? Oh, the egg? Yeah, the egg.
Beautiful egg.
I got bratwurst on the egg.
Very beautiful.
Peter, are you going into work at all?
Only when told to. They told us to stay out.
I've gone in. I went in a couple times yesterday and a couple times today.
So far, I've only violated it 3 times.
So, Josh, they're telling everybody work from home there?
At my business, it's like whoever can work from home, it's mandatory that you do work from home.
Interesting.
But I work for a life sciences company, and it's manufacturing of chemicals, research grade, things like that. So the products that we make actually go into research for, you know, the vaccine, or possibly kits. You know, could be some sort of reagent that goes into a kit for detection. Yeah. So it's busier. It's actually busier than usual because there's a lot of rearranging of the schedule and things like that to just try to prioritize those items. So unfortunately I'm kind of on the opposite side of things when it comes to something like this.
Okay, Greg, you're good now.
Okay, good. I'm echoing to myself, but whatever.
Deal with it.
I guess that's what I gotta do. So,
Greg's working from home, right, Greg?
Yeah, that's. But it's not. I work for healthcare, so I actually can go in.
You're not seeing patients every day.
No, but my job, I can work from home to do my job. But they say if you want to go in, you can, which
interesting.
But they also said you don't have to, and why would I choose to go in? I don't.
Right. You know, so you and I had that discussion back when I worked at the hospital. There was always that claim that if they needed to reassign us in the IT department to a task that we could perform if we were needed in another department, you know, sweeping floors or, you know, whatever, that they could in the case of an emergency. Has that discussion come back up for you guys recently at all? Do you know?
No, I mean, in documentation, basically, it says if this affects you where you can't do your regular tasks, they will assign you to something else to do. So I don't know. They never said, oh, you could be working at the desk at this clinic or anything like that. But it's interesting how luckily what I do all remotely anyway. I don't deal with physical hardware or anything, so there's no reason to actually be there.
I don't know that we covered this. What are you guys drinking? Pate's in a van, so he probably shouldn't be drinking. I finished my Chardonnay. Oh, Pate's got a Bud Light. Okay.
I finished my IPA.
What were you? Oh, you were drinking a
Incarnation.
Incarnation.
Yeah, Incarnation from Four Hands.
Four Hands, right? Yeah.
Isn't that a Cardinal player?
No.
Encarnacion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Encarnacion. Yeah.
I'm keeping it seasonal. Mary Berry Ale.
That's
what vintage is that?
It's from 3 months. When was Christmas?
Years
4
ago.
Months ago.
It's the 2017 variety.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about how your beer supply is holding up over there, Greg.
You know, I was thinking the same thing. I was just going to ask that.
I was considering scheduling a showing.
You were going to have a showing and drink his beer?
Walk out with some fancy stouts.
I got to be honest. So the bar is totally clean. It looks really nice. And on the bar is a bottle of Abraxas 2014 or 2015. I can't remember which one. And two glasses. So I guess if someone wanted to, they could just take that with them.
Oh, man.
You know?
That thing's got to be worth about $300.
Well, if they want to buy the house enough, maybe
you'll throw that in.
Yeah, maybe I'll throw that in. I don't know. No one's put that in their comments about the house yet.
So you haven't packed up all the beer and stuff down there?
No, it's still there.
Oh, okay.
And I tell you what, there's a lot of crappy beers in there. Or a lot of There's 2 beers that I swear I must have 12,000 of those beers because I have like a jalapeno IPA and some sour. Damn, I can't remember what it is. I know I only got 6 packs of both of those, but every time I look in the fridge, there's like 3 of them, and I know I've drank so many.
They just keep surfacing.
They're multiplying somehow on their own. I don't know. Wouldn't that be something you come home from a showing because, you know, you got to leave the house in a big hurry, take the dogs with you, the kid with you, and you come home and you notice that Abraxas is empty or missing? That would piss me off.
Lots of things piss you off.
Yeah. Well, sure, right.
That'd be funny, yeah. Empty bottle of Abraxas and 2 empty glasses sitting there.
Yeah.
And they write you a little thank you letter. Yeah. Really enjoyed your hospitality.
Yeah. We like your taste of beer, but we really don't care for your house.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. It is so weird, though. I mean, like today, at 3:35, I got a message on my phone saying they're requesting a showing at 3:45.
Oh, jeez.
I literally am like, and
you're like, I'm on the toilet.
Well, I mean, it could have been, but I wasn't.
It's that time of day.
It's one of those things where you're like, well, I don't want to. At this time, you don't want to prevent people from looking at your house since, you know. So I literally am like, all right, dogs, let's jump in the car and take off. And I did a loop around Festus a few times, and then they, you know, it was a quick one, but man, it keeps going. And then every time you come back, you got to do the Clorox wipes on all the light switches, all the door handles, all the, to be safe,
Yeah. Gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And we even
Hopefully,
have out by our the book that tells all the improvements and everything in the house. We got wipes, we got hand sanitizer, and I think my agent told them to take off their shoes when they come in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Don't want it tracking across your whole home.
Yeah. So.
Didn't the baby be on the floor and
right, exactly.
everything else?
So lots of fun.
So you had how many people looking at your house, Greg?
Well, we had 2 today and 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden yesterday I went over to your house because it was they're like, hey, in 20 minutes we want to see the house, and we barely had dinner yet, and luckily you let us come over. You didn't say no.
Yeah, we almost said no, but yeah.
But we had to bring the dogs and everything. That's the thing that sucks. You got to bring.
Yeah, I remember that. We would go and hang out at a neighbor's house and spy on the people looking at our house when we sold our old house, our first house. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're friends with the new neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah. So you close next week on the new house?
The 31st. Yeah, next Tuesday.
When do you have your walkthrough?
It's either Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which one.
You could hire Josh and I to come with you, and because we're picky, we could point out all the mistakes.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think, Josh? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think he's frozen.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
My bandwidth is terrible.
What do you have? Who do you have, Josh?
I gotta try to charter, but I'm outside. I'm too far away from the.
You just don't have.
I'm gonna go downstairs.
Well, can't you sit on the patio?
Not very strong. That's where I was the patio, but now I'm going. Everybody cleared out of the house.
We're taking a tour.
They saw me coming.
They're not social distancing anymore. So Pate.
No, they were all in the house. I was outside. Now they went outside.
Pate works at a school like I do. Pate, what would you say your percentage of kids that don't have broadband at home are?
We put a survey out, but the problem with putting a survey out is you don't know. I mean, we pushed it out a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
But we had I forgot what percent apply, what percent responded from the phone call the other week. But I'd say probably 25 to 35% of our kids, if not even 40.
I was going to say, I would have expected more. Because you guys are pretty rural, right?
We are very, very rural. I'd have to get off the call, or I guess I had to swipe up. I'm still on the call. 450 square miles, maybe, is what our school district is. And that's a lot of gravel roads. A lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we're 320 miles.
So since my mom will never hear this podcast, she has our mail in quarantine for 3 days.
Oh, really?
Go to the mailbox, put it in a paper sack, and wait 3 days, because that's what they say the plastic is. So the plastic windows.
Wow.
So tomorrow we can open up the mail from. Now it'll be Saturday. 4 days ago.
Wow.
Which, I mean, I get it. All the bills get paid online around here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Most bills get sucked out automatically.
That's an interesting thought, though. I mean, they say cardboard, it can stay 24 hours, right? So
right. And I got a Chromebox that got shipped back for my daughter's Catholic school, and it was in my garage yesterday, so I'll open it up tomorrow. And then I get it, program it back, and get it up to them in case they decide to send stuff home.
Yeah, so there was a thing on the news the other night that said leave your packages on your porch for 24 hours before touching them and bringing them inside. Which, okay, is that just fueling fear or is that legitimate? I don't know, man.
Well, like the mail is touched and seen and whatever by God knows how many people.
Right.
Packages are touched and handled by God knows how many people.
Right.
Like I've said, I'd rather be safe than sorry and save one life as opposed to say screw it and just do whatever.
Right. And there's so much unknown right now, you know, I don't know. And Peyton, I'm sure your mom is of an age that is a high risk age. Although now they're saying over 50% of the cases they're seeing in New York are 45 and under.
Well, there was I didn't share it with you yet, but the 25-year, the New York area, I don't exactly remember where, that was in the hospital. They lost his test, and you know, he didn't receive the drugs in time to really do him any good. You know, the experimental stuff. You know, that's 25.
Yeah,
I'm way past 25.
Yeah, we've got I think 5 positive now in our county. Three of them are 60 plus. One of them is teens, you know, between 10 and 20, I think. I don't know. The 5th one today, they haven't released any information, so I don't know.
Our county still has 0, but it's coming because we don't have enough tests. Right. That's where the problem is right now. Is you got to be almost on death's door to get a test.
I just walked past that new testing center that they're opening here in Hillsboro at the Civic Center, and it's set up to have like a long line, you know, the drive-through style. I think it opens. I think it starts tomorrow.
Memphis has a drive-through testing center at the Liberty Bowl. They just took a big parking lot there and put up. It's got to be more than one tent butted together, because that'd be a long tent to somebody to actually have for. I don't know what would be used for, but you have to have a doctor's note or doctor's whatever to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, I think what are we up to about? Well, there's 500,000 confirmed cases around the world, but I don't know how many there is in the U.S. But New York has the majority of them.
30,000.
30,000 in New York?
Well, no, it's countrywide. I'm refreshing the page now.
20,000 in New York, though, I think.
65,000 in the U.S.
Yeah.
New York has 30,811. They've increased 4,463 today.
Wow.
See,
Missouri.
I'm seeing U.S. increase 10,486 today, up 20%.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Missouri is like up 25 today or something crazy, right?
Let me find the U.S.
80. No, I'm sorry. Missouri is up 86 today.
Wow.
86 people.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Cases, yeah. I didn't know if you were saying percentage.
So have you guys heard anything, Josh or Pate, regarding your school districts and whether or not they're going to close for the rest of the year or anything like that?
We've been pushed to the end of April. April 27th is our return date right now. That's what I'm going to go with as far as official commentary on that.
Yeah.
We are still set to go back on the 3rd, but we're not going back to school.
Yeah.
No.
It's really going to be interesting.
The diocese down here just pushed.
Oh, Pate's got slow internet down there in southeast Missouri.
Oh, did I freeze up?
No,
yeah, you did. You're back now.
Oh, sorry. The Diocese of Springfield Cape Girardeau just pushed all the kids, their schools back to the whatever Josh's school is.
Yeah. Archdiocese in St. Louis did the same thing.
I mean, we're not going to see
a guy on a podcast. I heard a guy on a podcast. Yeah. I heard a guy on a podcast that I listened to where he got confirmation in West Virginia, which was one of the areas in the country that had the least amount of cases.
Yeah.
And his kids had gotten an email that they're not going to go back to school or they canceled school for the rest of the year.
I think Arkansas has done that. I know Kansas has done that. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall. You don't have to be a genius to understand that.
Well, the two schools in St. Louis County have done it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did they? Did they end up doing it?
I thought Wright City and one of the others out there did it.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that. I don't know. I'll have to go and look. Man, I was going to ask you something else. Oh, so something weird. Weird. I don't know if that's the right term. So there's a priest in Jefferson City that has his pilot's license, and there was a deacon in High Ridge, Missouri, that got the bright idea to fly a consecrated host in a monstrance over all the parishes in our county today. So they took a plane, a little Cessna Piper, whatever, and flew over every parish in Jefferson County, Northern Franklin County, or St. Francis County, with the consecrated host as a blessing for all of the members of the parishes in the area. I thought that was kind of different. Apparently, a parish in Italy has done that as well.
They dropped it down, or what?
No, they just flew over with it and said a prayer as they crossed over each church.
I thought they tossed out the little.
Well, so that's the interesting thing. I know Pate's Catholic. The fact that they're shutting down churches right now, and we haven't been to church in a couple weeks. Daily mass is shut down. Weekly mass is shut down. That's I don't know if that's ever happened. Pate, do you know if that's happened before?
It has never happened. No.
That's crazy to me.
We or me and the priest and I, are live streaming our masses now on Facebook.
Yeah, our parish is too.
So we're doing every Sunday. We did today for
Annunciation.
And then somebody asked me if every Wednesday would be a
perpetual help
thing. And I'm going to talk to the priest about it and be like, do you want to do Sunday and Wednesday?
Yeah. Interesting.
It's weird.
I agree. It's very weird. I've said this. I was over at central office today. We had our admin meeting virtually this morning via Google Meets. I still say this single event, no matter how long it lasts, we're talking months at this point. This will change education, and not only education. I mean, anything social, just how people interact socially. It's going to change things for a generation. I mean, we're living through history. It's pretty bizarre to think that, but I think about Jackson, Josh, your kids are Jackson's age or a little bit older. To think that they're living through history and they will tell their grandkids about the time that they had to spend a month and a half at home,
Well, one of the things that I think about a lot is kind of the silver linings with all of this.
Sure.
And
yeah.
Our kids, and I mean, this sounds like something that every generation would say, but I think our kids really come from a time of, our economy has been fantastic for the last 12 years, and we're a country of abundance, and there's never been anything that they've really had to worry about, and within reason. I mean, they've lost family members and things like that, but to experience something as a united country and then world. But all those things are going to play a part in shaping them because they are so young, that I think that it's kind of a blessing in disguise, so to speak. It's almost like I was actually talking to my grandpa the other day, who's 91 years old, and he went through the great, he grew up kind of during the tail end of the Great Depression. And he was talking about why are these people hoarding toilet paper? He said, back in the 30s, we had outhouses. We didn't even have toilet paper. We were using the Sears Roebuck catalog. We were using corn shucks and all this kind of thing.
Corn cobs.
Holy, that's bad. That's living. That's roughing it.
That's desperation, is what that.
Exactly.
I mean that.
Yeah.
And so you think about this, and you hear all the stories about people hoarding toilet paper, which we're not. We have beer, but not toilet paper. But I told my mom this, and I told my dad this. I can understand now. My grandma and grandpa died several years ago, but when they sold their house, they were in their nursing home. My dad and his brothers and had to go through their house. I now understand that mentality of having 50 cans of tomatoes in the basement that grandma canned out of the garden, and 25 mason jars of green beans in the basement that she got out of the garden. I get it now.
Anything they'd find useful, like Country Crock or Cool Whip containers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tons of those just stacked up, because why would I throw this away?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I asked my grandpa the other day when I talked to him, I said, is there anything you need? Anything you want me to pick up? He said, no, I already got my garden started for the year. And we have, we got the freezer downstairs. We got the freezer in the garage. They have so much food. Every time I go there, they load us up with baskets and bags of just tons of stuff, because they're from that generation. My grandpa's 91, grandma's 90.
So it's funny because we had that conversation here at our house that, if it really got bad and we ran out of food and the grocery stores were closed, we could go to Annette's folks' house, and her mom probably has at least 2, if not 3 big, the giant chest freezers, that are 6 foot by 4 foot, full of casseroles. So if we needed food, we've got casseroles, man.
So they're already made too.
They are. Well, they're not cooked. They're not cooked. We just got to throw them in the oven, but they are full. I mean, we've got desserts, we've got casseroles, we've got turkeys. You name it, we've got it.
Wow.
That's a
we
good
may
deal.
not have toilet paper, but we've got casseroles.
Well, man. So I was when you were talking about the mail earlier, I was thinking, have you ever seen, I know I have one of those little, for my toothbrush, I have like one of the Sonicare or whatever. You throw it in this UV light thing, and it's supposed to, for 15 minutes, this blue light shines on it, and it's supposed to kill any bacteria or whatever. Is there something like that can be used with the mail, if you're so concerned about mail?
I'm not concerned about the mail. She is, and I just put it in the brown paper sack, and we'll open it in 3 days.
So that brings up a good point. The infrared, they have them on heating and cooling systems. The kind of infrared light that's supposed to not act as a filter, but kill all the bacteria and microbes that are in the air before it hits the filter or whatever. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, Greg.
The Germinator, here's one. Germinator UV light disinfectant portable sanitizing wand. That's a mouthful. $90. It kills 99.9% of bacteria, viruses, germs, molds, bedbugs, salmonella, and E. coli. You just shine this over your stuff, but that's.
But does it kill COVID-19?
That's
in the 0.01.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that number, did you see where everybody's suing Purell, the class action suit, saying that they claimed that 99.99 or 99.9% or whatever, and people are got a class action suit against them saying that that's misleading, and it doesn't kill stuff.
Oh,
Well,
geez.
so they keep saying on the news that hand sanitizer with at least 70% of alcohol. So I guarantee you, if you buy the cheap hand sanitizer, it's 60 or 62% alcohol on the ingredient list. It's not 70%. I've looked at ours.
Yeah, Lori had some of that stuff in her purse that came from like Bath and Body Works, and it was like 65%.
Yeah.
That stuff just has the smell to it as well, so it can't kill as much.
Exactly.
They gotta put something to fill in that extra part of alcohol.
Yeah, that extra 35% is like color and
the scent.
Yeah, glitter. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing about that is there's a number of distilleries in St. Louis that have transitioned from making alcohol to making hand sanitizer now.
Yeah.
Four Hands is doing it. There's a couple other places doing it.
AB is doing it as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I found that. I didn't know they distilled stuff.
I mean, they're say what you will about AB, but in times of crises and stuff, they put out like canned water and stuff for people, and well, apparently hand sanitizer. That must be something new, but you know they have all the equipment, so what the heck, you know?
I think it's amazing that they can turn that stuff over so fast, though, and retool and create new containers and whatever the case may be. But I mean, obviously, they're a huge company.
Right. Well, I mean, water is easy. Just
sure.
fill the cans of water, you know. But
right,
well, they do that with Bud Light already.
Shots fired at Pate.
Pate doesn't care. I like what I like. So obviously, I know we can't do snack time, but I can't. There we go. Old Bay big sunflower seeds.
Oh, Old Bay, that's the stuff used on like fish, right?
Crab boils and shrimp boils and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very good. I really like it.
Dang. You have to send us some.
Yeah.
I'll find some and sip them up.
I've never heard of
that. Josh's address. Don't worry.
We'll have a crawfish boil at Greg's new house.
There you go.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get all that brewing equipment. That'll double as a crawfish boil equipment.
You gonna collect the crawfish? Where are you gonna get those?
Hey.
Oh, okay. There you go.
He'll make me drive to Arkansas and get them and bring them up.
Well, you're like 2 miles from Arkansas.
Close. I mean, interesting fact of history: the Boot Heel should have been part of Arkansas, but one man owned the whole Boot Heel and didn't want to be part of a slave state, so he became part of Missouri.
Interesting.
When they drew the lines.
I think I've heard that.
That is why the state of Missouri does not go straight across. It's got the little dip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way my mind works, think back years ago that one man owned all this square footage.
Right.
What it would be worth now.
Yeah.
Because farmland is insane down here.
Is it really?
Oh, I mean, 5,000 for not good stuff.
Wow. An acre?
Yeah.
Interesting. So they grow, like when you drive down the road, you see cotton growing. What else do you see?
Cotton, soybeans, corn, wheat, rice. A little bit further north, just past Sikeston, potatoes.
Really?
I wouldn't know what it looks like, but some of the guys from St. Louis come down and rent out some of the farms here and grow horseradish too.
Really?
I wouldn't know what it looked like growing.
I love horseradish.
I'm surprised there's none down there that are growing marijuana now, taking advantage of the medical.
So funny you say that. They want to do that in a controlled environment. One town's Walmart closed down.
What?
And yes, and they bought the place up or leased it up. I don't know if they bought or leased it, but they have the license and are going to start growing the marijuana in an old Walmart.
Well, I could also see you want it in a contained place from being stolen as well, not just.
Well,
know.
stolen. You're controlling all the environment. Yes.
Yeah, because if it was out in a field growing just free, Pate would be in that field stealing it every night.
Hey, you got to make do with these tough times, boys. Catholic school is still sending work home for my kid and still wants their tuition payment.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the interesting thing. Right now, we've sent work home through the third or fourth, whatever that first date was, and officially it wasn't to count as a grade. I think going forward, we're going to readjust that. It still won't necessarily be required, because if it's required, then you get into issues with SPED. But I think we're going to take the stance of it can't harm your grade. It can only help your grade. Josh, have you heard anything from Hillsboro about your kids?
No, I mean, the only thing that we know so far is, you and I have talked. My son, he has a college algebra class that does count. But other than that, my younger son, who's in 8th grade, he's like, why do I have to do any of this stuff? It doesn't count. And we're trying to keep pushing for him to do the Google Classroom stuff. But I was just telling my wife, I'm like, there's online education out there. So there's got to be an ability to create something that can count towards a grade. It might not look like what it would look like in the classroom, but on a condensed, smaller scale, there's got to be something that the schools can do.
Well,
the issue,
DESE just released some guidelines talking about this, that, and what school at home should look like, what this should look like, and stuff. I'll forward it to you, Josh.
Yeah,
I read it earlier.
As of this morning, they supposedly our administration said they hadn't released it yet.
There's something out there now, that basically the problem I'm going to have is internet at home. So do we package these other kids? Number two, I've got a buddy. He's a CPA in St. Louis. Passed the CPA his first time. Took calculus in high school, everything. His son, I don't know what grade his son is in. I don't think he's in high school yet. Maybe he's in 8th grade. He looked at the math homework and said, "You're on your own."
Really?
I can't do it.
Wow.
He's forgotten it and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, imagine somebody that is, air quotes, educated.
Right.
And what are we supposed to do? I mean, I know when I was a sophomore in high school, my mom could not help me with my math homework.
Sure.
My mom has a speech pathologist. So she took, remedial, whatever math she needed to get her degree and went on. I was passing her as a freshman or sophomore.
Yeah.
And that was over 20 years ago.
That's the big barrier that I see is access at home. I don't know that we are as bad of a situation as other area districts. And there's a district to the south of us that's still in our county. The majority of their people that live in that county don't have internet at home. And the problem is, it's not that they can't afford it. That's not the issue. The issue is the carriers haven't come into the area and ran lines because it's too expensive to run a line for a single home on a farm with 50 acre. So that's the barrier. And if you're going to require it, you have to guarantee access to the internet to the kid to be able to complete that work. And if you can't, I don't know how you require it.
Right. So one way around that our school district is doing, and I don't know if either of yours is doing it, but they're reaching out to all the parents and they're saying, if you cannot get anything online, then come by the school. We have a printout of all these packets and things that you can complete. Yeah. And there's certain days that you can pick that up.
We're going to do the same thing.
Okay. Well, they started doing that since pretty much since day one. And I don't know. I guess that's one way around it, but I don't know. I understand what both of you are saying, but it does seem like there's the ability to do something that is kind of outside of the box in order to like make some sort of progress. Because we think about it with my son who's in 8th grade, and he's on he's kind of a like you said, Josh, he's kind of a little bit special ed, so he has an IEP, and we have to he has certain accommodations, and we don't want him to fall further behind as he goes into his high school into his freshman year. So that's going to be something that we are going to look at really closely, and how do we keep him moving forward?
The issue that I was referring to is more of along the lines of therapies, because they're the second that you offer education to a typical classroom, you're supposed to be able to offer that same education to a SPED kid or a SPED classroom. And the issue comes into therapy. So, if we're on lockdown, how do you get a physical therapist or an occupational therapist to do therapy remotely? I don't know how you even begin to think about that process. I don't know. This, like I said, again, and I've said it before, this single event, however long it is, months long, is going to change education forever. That in the last 60 years, we have not seen an event like this change education.
Hopefully it'll change it for the good,
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. And virtual education in itself, being able for teachers to be able to reach students in a virtual manner, to hold a virtual meeting like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That, I love that ability, and those changes are good. It's just there's going to be a big learning curve.
Yeah.
So what exactly happens if they decide, okay, school's done? I mean, do these kids, if you're in 6th grade, do you go on to 7th grade? How does that work?
Mass promotion.
What's that?
Mass promotion. Everybody goes.
Yeah.
Everyone goes, huh?
I mean, right now in elementary school, most of the time they socially promote.
Yeah, and I think the governor of Kansas already made that statement when he closed the schools till the end of the year. He made the comment, everybody's going to the next grade level. I don't know, here in Missouri we haven't gotten that far, and it appears that we have more local control here in Missouri. The local superintendents have a little bit more control over what's happening. So it may be up to them. I don't know, but I really don't see a situation where anyone would say, hey, guess what? You got to repeat 8th grade because we couldn't finish the last month and a half. I don't see that happen.
Even seniors are done.
So that brings up a whole other discussion. If we get to May, middle May, late May?
Yeah, I mean, say that our school district, once you get to high school,
so if we're still under the order in late May of no more than 10 people in a gathering, how do you have graduation?
Outside on the football field, spread out really far.
Yeah.
6 feet apart from everybody. Right. But like where Greg and Josh went to high school, where there were how many kids in your graduating class?
700 and something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No. You do A through B.
Yeah. Right.
Then turn around and do, whatever. You got to break it up to fit the mold.
Multiple nights.
I will say, like, our high school right now, I mean, we promote the kids up to their senior to get them out of testing.
Yeah.
And then they just keep repeating their senior year.
Oh, interesting.
Once we found out, before they switched the testing up to be like, you only take the test once, we got tired of the kids being sophomores for 2 years and killing our test scores. So they just got promoted up to seniors, and we just roll them back every year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's between schools changing, and one of the things that I read, which really kind of struck me, is what the schools are focusing on now is a relationship between the teacher and the student.
Right.
A relationship between this stuff, not what a kid can score on a test. So maybe the good of this comes that we realize these tests are useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the issue with that is it's not necessarily the state pushing that test. It's a federal requirement for that test, and that's
right. But maybe the federal government realizes that this is ridiculous.
That ain't gonna happen.
Hey, they're giving me $1,200. Maybe other miracles will happen.
Yeah, so that's the big thing out of that stimulus. Each adult, $1,200 if you make less than $75,000 a year. Each child is worth $500. Well, I say a year. Don't listen to that. $500. So I mean, we're looking at $2,900 coming to us in stimulus check. Josh, you're looking at what, $2 million?
Well, unfortunately, I make too much.
Oh, do you really?
No, I don't know. I haven't looked at it that closely yet.
Yeah, so it was.
But my kids, 2 of my kids are over 18 and they're dependents.
Oh,
they'll get their own money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
they will.
No. Did they file their own tax return in 2018?
No, that's not the case, Pape. They said if you filed for 2019, they're going off 2019 tax information.
Yeah, they file their own taxes. They've had their own income, but they're dependents under us.
It was an age requirement.
Well, I hope for your kids' sake they get 1,200.
Yeah.
I hope the government doesn't screw them out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're your dependents, though, then you'll get the 500.
Yeah.
But from what I read though today it was dependents under the age of 17. So I don't know.
Oh.
And we don't have video from Pate at all. Just
no,
his name.
No, my phone. Somebody's calling me.
All right. Well, it's about time anyway for us.
There we go. Yeah.
Dinner's
somebody
ready.
asked me what I was going to do with my money, and I told him, I said, barbecue contests aren't cheap. It's just going to go back in the barbecue fund.
There you go.
Well, that's what the government wants you to do, right? I mean, put it back out there.
Yeah.
Just put it back into the economy, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly, but I don't know when the next barbecue contest is going to be.
Well, you'll have to have us down there for it.
Good point.
I mean, Memphis in May already postponed. They're supposed to announce Friday a new date. So we'll see.
You're going to have to ship your meat. Or the judges will be in a big glass case, and you got to slip it into a.
Pate slips his meat anyway. Don't worry about it.
I stopped right there because
you got to do what you got to do, boys.
Well, anyway, this has been a pretty good show. Very interesting discussion about schools and the whole coronavirus and what's going to happen. I mean, it's up in the air. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
It's interesting.
But with what I say, 10,000 new cases in the U.S. today.
Yeah.
It's not going away anytime soon.
Nope.
So, well, this has been a happy show.
Let's do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
What else do we have to do?
There you go. Well, I guess that is what we can call the end of the show. And you can check out all our episodes, stuckinbetapodcast.com. And we'll see you next time. See ya.